everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to give people a quick minute to sign in and join us. I hope you're having a good Thursday evening. Welcome back to our Talkin' Story with Alumni. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to give people a couple quick seconds to sign in with us. I hope everyone is having a great fall semester. Let me know how it's going for you so far. I can't believe it's already September. I don't know about you guys. Thanks everyone for joining us. Welcome to another Talkin' Story with Alumni, where we catch up with former students of the Creative Media Program at UH West Oahu. My name is Ku'u Kauanoe. I have been hosting these for a little over a year, I think 2 now. And it's really fun for me to catch up with my former classmates and also just learn from them, see what they're doing now and pick up any tips or tricks as to how they got there. And, we really put this on for all of our ACM students, everyone watching here, so that, they can see what paths former students have taken and, kind of envision their own future as they move into, being a creative in Hawaii. So thank you all for joining us. Today we have Jess Manapal. She is a 2019 ACM graduate, and she currently works as a program manager and design instructor at Purple Maia. Before her current role, she used to work at an agency and a freelance graphic and web designer, but she also used to work for Code for America. So we're going to bring her on. She's going to talk about her college experience and now in her professional career. Let me get her on the screen really quickly. In the comments below or in the Q&A option. We kind of have a back and forth, but then I open it up later for everyone. Hey, Jess!
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I like to call Thursday Little Friday, We're like this close to the weekend.
Yes, and I'm so excited. I'm there with you.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to have you on, and I'm excited to catch up. I mean, I gave a little bit of your background, but I always like to start off with asking people what they wanted to be when they were growing up.
Yeah. I saw you ask this in the past stories, and I was like, do I want to share mine?
Why not?
Nah, I'm just kidding. I feel like might not be a surprise for people who went to West Oahu with me, but when I was growing up, I wanted to actually be a performer, like a singer, an actor.
Oh, wow.
So like High School Musical, Camp Rock, Victorious, I was watching all of those. That was my dream when I was a kid.
I love that. Okay, this is going to turn into a music session. You're going to sing for us. No, I'm kidding. A spontaneous performance. That's so cool. The reason why I asked that question is really to see, where those creative juices were flowing. And to be a performer, that's a lot of, creativity and improv and being able to produce a show or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I think that will all tie in. And maybe as we talk, you'll kind of tell us more about, how you might still be working on that or whatnot. But I did mention that you graduated in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So what school did you go to before, and how did you end up in the ACM program?
Yeah, so I'm a graduate of Kapolei High School, and then
Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
me too. How did I not know this? Actually,
yeah, 2015.
Oh, okay. This is why I don't know it, because I am ancient. I'm 2011.
You're not ancient.
Okay, so you went to Kapolei.
Yeah. So after Kapolei, I went to UH Manoa. So I was there for 2 years. At the time, I was still exploring different career interests. So I had this love for performing arts in high school, but at the time I was also doing a little bit of design, not a lot. Most of my design, or where it started actually, was in middle school. Sorry, I don't know why I'm explaining.
No,
please.
No, please.
Yeah, in middle school, I had a MySpace account when I wasn't supposed to have one.
Wasn't that us all? Okay.
Yeah. But I was really amazed with the feature to customize your own layout and really personalize it. So I wanted to learn how to make my own, but to do that, you kind of needed to know HTML and CSS. So started learning that probably just from like YouTube tutorials, and then I came across this site community, this MySpace site makers,
Cool.
where they all make their own layouts, and then they all like become friends, and there's just this online world, and I became part of it, and I was started learning Photoshop from them, and I became really just obsessed with designing MySpace layouts, and that's when I in high school I started kind of doing both performing arts and visual arts. Um, but then when it came time for college, I wasn't sure what I wanted an actual career
Mm.
out of. Was I going to try to explore those, or was I going to try other things? I randomly decided, let me try architecture because
Oh,
I know it's so random, but I also like um, kind of like building the practical things of building. So I think with my space, even though I like design, um, the coding part, how to actually make it work, I thought there's going to be instances of that in architecture. I just wanted to build stuff.
yeah.
So I tried it for a year, wasn't for me. Tried computer science because it was closer to coding. Really enjoyed it actually, but I was missing that visual design
Mm.
part. So then I started wondering again what I could do. That's when I came across the ACM program at West Oahu, and I was just online reading through the website, and I love the range and the courses. There's you could do some coding, you could do some design, but then there's also like sound and photography, which I wanted to touch all of those, and that's what made me transfer over. So I
Wow.
transferred over in 2017. Yeah.
Yeah. And you finished at ACM. I mean, thank you for really walking us through kind of like your journey. And even when you're sharing with me, it seems like you really just wanted to build and like very tactile and doing that kind of creativity. I wonder for you, what is a project that you are most proud of when you were in school?
Um, there is this one that's, oh my gosh, it's so hard to explain because of architecture. I have an architecture project and an ACM project.
Oh, okay, both.
Architecture
Yeah.
project, yeah. That one, it it's hard to explain because it was like, what is this project? We were both like, what is this project? But the task was to try to build a structure, but only with paper, and you couldn't glue anything together. You had to make pieces of paper, like origami, stick together by folding them and maybe making slits in the paper so they would attach and make a structure that wouldn't move.
Mm.
So I made one that looked like kind of a cave, and then I ended up putting like a light candle in between so it would light up and create an active
Cool.
space. So that's one of my favorite projects just because personally it was really cool. But from ACM, I think one of my favorite projects was um, one of the first times I ever did like a rebrand design.
Mm.
It was for Scott Karamura's class. The assignment was to take an existing company. I took Lululemon and then just give it a new visual identity. So new logo, new colors. And it was my favorite because I had a lot of fun creating new palettes, like a new font style for it. And I think I was proud of the final outcome because I learned how to take all these different things and make sure it's a cohesive system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I'm glad that you shared two with us, you know, because I mean, that just shows like your range of interest. But I mean, I also like you brought up this ACM one because you really got to like reimagine something. And that's kind of fun for us creatives, you know, thinking,
Yeah.
looking at something that already exists and, you know, making it what, you know, however you think would be better. Can you tell us about a project that was a little more challenging and maybe how you overcame that?
I think what was challenging for me was actually my capstone.
Ah. Okay, tell us about it. Give everyone a preview about what doing capstone is like. No kidding.
Yeah, yeah. It was challenging for me because I decided to do something I kind of didn't want to do, but I forced myself to do it. And
Mm.
to explain, so I was taking a lot of design courses at ACM, and I really enjoyed all the design courses, but I like found I didn't have a problem wanting to design. Like whenever we had a project, I'd dive right into it. If I didn't know how to do something, I'd Google it and end up being on YouTube for like hours researching. And I think I really valued that. But then there was this other part
Mm-hmm.
of my creative interest, which was music, that I kind of left behind. I would do some fun projects, but I felt like I wasn't improving in it simply because I was scared to do anything with music. So for my capstone, I kind of focused on, I decided this could be an opportunity for me to grow this skill set so that I could become like I guess, a better multimedia artist, right? Because I could offer design, but then I could offer maybe some music or something.
Sound, yeah.
Didn't know at the time exactly, but I still wanted to expand my skill set. So for my capstone, um, I did something on music. And while I was taking design classes, I was also taking some of the sound classes we have at ACM. And a lot of those sound classes, right, they're kind of exploring the effects of sound on you, the audience, and the different ways to actually manipulate that or to, I guess, elicit a specific emotion or portray the emotion, right, that of the characters of the story that you're trying to tell. So with music, I was like, well, we could do the same thing. What if I force myself to finish a song, because I never finish a song, and then work with two different artists and have them each make completely different arrangements of the same song.
Wow.
So now it's the same story, but they're eliciting different emotions in people because of the different arrangements. And I think that was my project. And it was really challenging simply because I didn't want to write the song. I didn't want to do it. But as a creative, I think I had to give myself that deadline to really do something there.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. First off, that sounds like a huge project that you pulled off. And so intricate and like nuanced in the way you're really like introducing how sound affects people. And I mean that you put a lot of pressure on yourself for that one. So shout out to you for completing it, obviously. I wonder for you, I mean, you kind of gave us a little bit of a tidbit there, you know, in that even when I was going through it, I knew that if I was going to pick a capstone, I would need to do something that I could stick with, you know, because you're working on it for so long and you want to pick a project that's like really, that you're really passionate about. So I love that you picked one that helped you to really grow, not only for your capstone, but as a musician, you know, for you writing a song. Any tips or advice you want to give to our students who are watching that might need a little motivation to getting their work done, or you know, any kind of things that they might be struggling with as they're going to classes and trying to do their work?
Yeah, I think if you're trying to decide for your capstone, it really depends on what your goals are and what you want to get out of your capstone. Like, for example, maybe you're really, really good at this specific skill, and now you want this opportunity to like showcase all that you've learned at ACM and what you can do, but with your full creative liberty. Then your capstone would be a good opportunity for that. But if you're like me, where there's another skill that you know it's there, but you kind of want to challenge yourself and push yourself, you could try going the route that I did, but warning, it's gonna be it's gonna be difficult. So, but in the long run, right? If you look at your overall growth, are you gonna be happy later that you like spent time on this new skill, on this new project? So
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, to be really deliberate when you're going into your capstone. Tell us what it was like when you graduated from college. Did you immediately have a job? Did you immediately know what you wanted to do?
I did not immediately know what
it's hard.
what I wanted to do. Yeah. I think when I graduated from college, I knew it was going to be in the media realm, right? It was going to be maybe an agency or a creative studio where I could do design. I wasn't sure. I wasn't really thinking about fitting in music for a career. At the time, it was mostly design. And I ended up emailing different agencies. So I simply just Googled marketing agencies and creative studios. And then I got hired actually at the same one that Annalyn worked at the time. Yeah.
Annalyn was a great guest. I really learned a lot from her. Anyway, keep going.
No, yes, I love Annalyn. So she ended up being my mentor at that place.
Oh.
I was so lucky. And now we're talking about Annalyn. I forgot the question. What I
Your
do after I
transition.
graduated.
Yeah. So you joined the same agency as Annalyn.
Yeah. And then there I was part of the digital design team, and I was a complete noob, right, compared to the rest of the agency, but I loved being in that team because I could see the different roles. Like there was a web developer, there's different types of designers, there's the project managers, and that was my exposure into like how these teams are set up and how they serve clients and the different ways you can serve clients and the different parts of a project that you can pitch into. So that from there I started kind of exploring where I might want to, where I might see myself or what I might want to do.
Yeah. Finding your
And
place.
yeah. We were doing a lot of commercial projects for like hotels, some internet service providers, doing a lot of like digital marketing assets, landing pages, email designs, and whatnot. And while I was there, I learned that I actually didn't want to do commercial. Maybe I don't want to work for an agency. I wanted to do more community-based projects. So I took a break. I decided to just take a break. I ended up quitting that job to give myself a break before I could go and find other like local organizations to connect with. But I quit February 2020. March
Got it.
2020, we started closing down. Yeah. So then I didn't see that coming. A lot of the organizations I reached out to were like, oh, sorry, we're on a hiring freeze. So, okay, what am I going to do? I just.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah.
But that was an opportunity for me to then jumpstart my freelance career. So I spent all that time researching how to set up a freelance business, how to like what is an independent contractor and how do I set up contracts, like kind of searching up the business side of freelancing. And then even though these companies couldn't hire me as an employee, they could hire me as an independent contractor. And that actually worked out really well for me because then I had the ability to choose different clients and different types of kind of industries that I could work with. And that allowed me to connect with mostly community-based organizations and nonprofits. So after that, I started working with just nonprofits.
Wonderful. I mean, I like that even throughout your earlier answers, you were kind of telling us that you've kind of always like had your hand in a lot of different pots. So it kind of makes sense that you would move into being an independent contractor and that you get to work with a lot of people. And I really like that you, a lot of different nonprofits now, I'm wondering for you, and I also want to go back to the fact that, you recognize that you didn't want to do commercial work anymore and then you took a break. Any advice for our students looking for jobs and kind of trying to figure out where their place is? One thing I will say about your story is I love that you tried it. Even though you're like, I don't know, maybe I want to work at an agency, you tried it and then you knew that you didn't want to do it. And then, you found something else for yourself. I love that part. Any advice for our students who might be feeling the same?
Yeah. Advice is to honestly what you just said, it's to let yourself try things. And that I'm saying that knowing full well that this is advice I got from other people, especially my boyfriend. I think he jumped in earlier. Like at the start of I think after I graduated, I was feeling a lot of pressure that I needed to know exactly what I wanted to do, that I needed to have a job lined up exactly in that field, right? And that gave me a lot of anxiety because the truth was I didn't know yet. I was just starting my career and I did do try all of these different classes, but it's there's so much more out there that I haven't explored yet. So he gave me advice to just like be patient with myself and stop rushing things and let myself
Mm.
try things until I find something that sticks, that I really enjoy. So for anyone who might be in the same boat right now, just let yourself try things, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you don't like it, but that's actually a good thing because now you know you're going to try something else. And even if you don't like it, you'll find pieces of it that you do that you might look for in your next job, right? So yeah, that's
No, no, that was perfect. I mean, I love that, just try things because you never know, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, so thank you for sharing, feeling that kind of pressure to know exactly. Like, I think even as a creative, right, we're continually growing our skills and getting closer to doing the kinds of projects that we want to do, but we'll never get to them if we don't try, like if we don't explore. And I mean, I like that you were saying earlier, you kind of just like emailed all of these agencies and you were looking for, contracts and stuff after you had left your former agency. I wonder, any tips on reaching out to people? Our students are probably wondering if they should, how can I put myself out there, or should I be looking for internships, or how can I find like a creative network, those kinds of things.
yeah. So I think when reaching out to people, there's the cold emails you're going to have to send, where that just means you don't have a connection with this person and you're just emailing them from some email address you got off the
Yeah.
internet. There's there might be actual job applications that you apply to, and that's how you get your name in there. And then there's the connections you get from people who help connect you there. Um, Advice for those is to do all three.
Do all of it.
Well, and not in the way where like, oh, you have to have 100, like a list of 100 people or whatever. But I think you just never know where your next opportunity is going to be. So advice for sending cold emails: simply Google searching what's here in Hawaii. Maybe even look on LinkedIn, kind of get to know the faces of people who might be in companies that you're interested in. And then preparing, when you email them, make sure you have like a link to your portfolio or a link to your resume and a little short blurb about what you're looking for and how you can help them. And you never know, like, you might be emailing them at the right time. Sometimes, I mean, you might get a lot of, like, you might get ghosted, but there
Right.
might be that one person who, like, just happened to have their hands full and was looking for somebody, and that could have been you.
Yeah.
And then another tip for reaching out is, I think other people have mentioned it too, like, connections are really important. Networking. I think when you're a student, your connections are going to start here at school. So kind of going to events, really talking to your professors, because I think they're going to have the most people to be able to connect you to. But just having conversations with them about what you're looking for, what you're trying to learn, maybe they'll be able to point you in some direction.
Yeah. Thank you, because we have highlighted before that, your network is the people that you are literally in class in right now. You know what I mean? With right now. Like that's going to be your network. But also don't forget your professors. I mean, creating those kinds of like strong relationships, where you like exhibit your skills and talents in the classroom that they can remember, I mean, I still use Charlotte as a reference, so
Yeah.
making those good connections with your professors is going to help later when you're looking for a job, um, how do you like it at Purple Maya? What do you do over there? And what is, like how is your job that you have now kind of looking back, fulfilling the things that you wanted graduating from ACM?
Um, I love Purple Mile so far. I just actually, yeah, well, I say so far because I actually kind of just started
Oh, cool.
over the summer. And Purple Maya is a nonprofit that we have a lot of programming geared towards helping empower like culturally grounded, community serving technologists, creatives, entrepreneurs. And what that means is like, so we have courses that teach kids computer science, like how to code. We have some workforce development programs that helps adults learn new tech skills, and then we have like entrepreneurship programs to help maybe Native Hawaiian businesses and business owners and women-owned businesses kind of grow.
Mm-hmm.
And my particular role there is the program manager and lead instructor for digital creators, which is a course that helps Hawaii-based professionals just advance their skills in design and marketing. And then we pair them with Native Hawaiian businesses to kind of support, support the growth of these designers, but then support the growth of these businesses at the same time. And this is exactly the type of like community-based work I wanted to be doing. So I'm really, really happy to be here. And there was a second part to your question. Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just asking, how it is over there for you and how you see, the things that you're doing now, either connected to or learned from when you were in class at ACM.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my, there's a direct example.
Okay.
So I'm designing the course that's coming up. It's going to start soon. And the projects are to design a social media marketing campaign, produce it, and then the other project is to help people get practice rebranding. Or sorry, my like earphone was. Anyways,
it's okay.
There's a branding project basically. So the students are going to have to take this existing company and their existing brand and then like change it up. I did that in school.
Yeah.
So the person I'm copying is Scott Kawamura.
Shout out.
He taught us so well, but what I really liked about his class is everything we learned by doing. So we jumped straight into it, even if we had minimal design background or like we didn't really know how to use InDesign. He was like, here's a project, do something, here's your shortcuts. And then we would go to class, each present our project, right? And he would give all of us feedback right in front of everyone. I mean, maybe some people didn't like that, but like we were then learning from everyone's project, not just our own. And everyone was coming in with at different levels, right? There's some really good designers already, some already like new designers, but from Scott's feedback, we were learning something from everyone. And so that's something I want to replicate in this course. I am going to replicate in this course. So I really am thankful for ACM for that. And another thing that helped me ACM is literally just my connection to Marian Ano. She actually used to work at Purple Maya Foundation.
Oh.
She was a teacher here too, and she was how I found out about this program. Yeah, so now I'm here.
I love we're really getting into like a full circle moment right now, right? We started off talking about projects that you're most proud of, and now you're replicating that project for, future students and the businesses that are going to need, this kind of skills and practice at digital marketing. So I think that's perfect. I mean, too bad that would be like a perfect loop and we would end it here, but I have a couple more questions. But I also want to make sure, we've been talking for about half an hour. We'll only be talking for, maybe 15 more. If anyone in the, watching in this little Instagram live wants to drop a question for Jess, just put it in the comment section, or you can do the Q&A feature too. But I mean, what's inspiring you lately, Jess? How do you like stay motivated and stay creative?
Social media, I find a lot of inspiration from there. But,
any accounts you want to shout out particularly?
Okay. I can't remember the names of the design accounts that I follow, but except the future. the future at the future with no E. They're I mostly follow them on their content on YouTube, and they have so much good free content about freelancing, about designing, about like how to receive feedback, how to get feedback, how to set up project proposals, how to price your work. Um, and then they have actual practical design tips, and they were one of my biggest sources throughout my whole freelance career. My sources for like education. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but they're really inspiring because I love what they're doing. They have all these skills that they're kind of just sharing with the community, which I think is similar to what I'm trying to do here. Other accounts that inspire me, they're not design, but a lot of the um, Native Hawaiian Instagram accounts that have been posting a lot about what's happening in Lahaina. But I love how each of them have been able to use their design skills and their content creation skills to share like the stories of what's happening there and help support the community. So it's been really sad, but also really inspiring to see how like people are using the creative arts for that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, shout out to all our UH Maui students, who are going through a lot right now, probably. But I mean, I love what you mentioned about those accounts because it's about like using their design skills to inform the community and empower the
Yeah.
community, which I mean, very much seems in line with what you've been sharing lately. Yeah, that was great. Oh, Charlotte sent in a question. Charlotte said, "Why do you prefer working for nonprofits versus for-profit companies?"
Um, I think I prefer working for non-profits because I realized even though I like to design things, I like to create things, I think design for me is the tool. It's a tool, not the end goal.
Mm,
And for profits, I mean, the end goal is it might be to kind of like sell things or um, I don't know, get people into hotel rooms. And
right.
I think for some people, like they enjoy doing that. Like they love let's see, like, how do I explain it? It's kind of a different challenge for profits where like the science and the marketing that for them really fulfills them. And then for me, I think I really enjoy for profit because it's less about numbers. I mean, nonprofits, it's less about numbers, but more about people and the individuals. So design kind of becomes a tool for this overall mission, whatever it is, because nonprofits are going to be doing different things.
Mm,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, right? Especially, especially when for our students who will be like entering the workforce, it is a lot of times like, do you want to work for an agency where you can kind of get like a broad amount of experience for a bunch of different brands, or do you just want to work for a singular brand? And then on the flip side, like, do you want to work for a nonprofit where, the work might be a lot more, you know what I mean? A lot more focus and a lot more work in general, or a
yeah,
for-profit, which has its different kinds of burnout. Everybody will reach it. But
yeah,
I mean, I like that you explained that too, because even in our talk, you've been bringing up, a lot of community-based and all of this, this sentiments of serving, and I definitely relate to that also as far as like, is the work that I'm doing impactful and meaningful to me and the communities that I care about is kind of like what I think about. For you, what has your mission been so far? If you had like a mission statement for your career.
yeah. Um, I think I've been exploring kind of what it means to be a community leader.
Mm,
And I don't know yet exactly what that means, but if I look back at what I enjoy about designing, right, it's being able to take something, look at something, evaluate it, and ask, is there a better way to do this?
mm,
Um, And whether it's visual design or like program design or like community organizing, design in that sense and facilitating in that sense, like there is something there to be solved.
Yeah.
There's something there that we could, there's always going to be people that need help in some way, somehow. And I think my mission, it's very vague and broad in a sense where like, I don't know what exactly the mission is. I just want to know. I just want whatever I'm doing to help someone somehow.
Yeah.
And I know it's very
That's
broad, and I don't even know if that answers your
no, no, no.
question.
No,
It's so
no,
hard.
it totally, no, 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 no. It totally does. And I only really, I know we talked earlier about the questions that I would ask, but of course I go off because you say such interesting things and I just want to know, but no, you totally answered it. And there's no such thing as being like vague or, I think simple is better, right? Because as long as you get to like the core of the things that you want to do, and our students, of course, are figuring that out or probably know it or who knows, but as long as you know the core of what you want to do, I mean, that kind of will set you up with the choices and the paths that you do to fulfill that, So, I mean, to me, you told us your whole arc, right, of your story from starting off and kind of having so many different interests to kind of like being able to share those interests with, your students now at Purple Maya. Something that Charlotte brought up, actually, we did not talk about enough is your experience with Code for America.
Yeah. So Code for America, I started there when after I stopped freelancing. So I was freelancing for, like freelancing only for maybe 2 years, 2 years. Um, and that's when I was started reaching out to community groups, right? And I started doing some work with Code for Hawaii, which I think again Marian connected me to. Shout out to her really for like my entire career. What is it? Yeah, so Code for Hawaii. I was doing. I think I did a flyer for one of their events. Also helped design some print products. Their leader was working at Code for America. And I learned about Code for America through them. And Code for America, it's a civic tech nonprofit based in San Francisco. So we kind of try to do a lot of things around making government benefits more accessible to people through technology. Cool. So for example, one part of the company will, I think they do a lot of work in California where safety net benefits are really hard to get. Like, it's just hard to apply for them. It's hard to understand the website. So we'll like employ UX designers and community organizers and like developers to try to make that whole experience a lot easier so people actually get their benefits. My role there was to help manage the volunteer program. And I got into that because, again, I like design, but there was this other type of design I wanted to get practice in, which was like designing programs, kind of strategic design in that sense. And Code for America gave me the opportunity to do that. While I was there, even though it's technically not, graphic design, I was working with graphic designers. Mm-hmm. I was working with web developers. These are the volunteer groups. They all work in these different design and tech fields, but they're all trying to like work together for whatever community project we're working on. So my ACM skills, it was really helpful because then I wasn't starting from scratch in terms of like how do I talk to these different people, and then how do I get them talking? How do I facilitate spaces for them to like communicate?
Yeah. Wow, that seems like a perfect tie-in actually, right? Because you have experience as a designer, you're working with designers so that they can produce, whatever kinds of tech or projects that you guys were working on. I think, again, that spirit of service is really coming through as you share your story. So I'm grateful for that, honestly. I'm going to do one last plug to get anyone to drop any questions. I only have two more really quickly. What is something you wish someone told you about the real world, quote unquote, before you graduated?
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say Annalyn again because she touched on something that I wanted to
Oh,
kind of bring up.
perfect.
I think she was talking about mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and my something I wish people told me before graduating was, I don't know if this is gonna be helpful, and it's not ACM
It's
related.
okay.
I'm sorry, Shyla. But you say the real world, right? I think I wish people told me about like work cultures,
Ah,
and like
tell them.
work practices that might not be like people centered. Um, I think it would have just been helpful to kind of hear from other professionals exactly what their day to day is in work, because there's more to it than just the actual work.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have been able to avoid things like unhealthy work cultures, but I would have at least been able
Mm,
to brace
mm,
myself and be able to name things
mm.
that I'm experiencing at work, and like know how to take care of myself in those
Yeah.
situations. So yeah, like Annalyn was saying, prioritize your mental health.
Yeah, no. And thank you for sharing that because, even when we do these talks, we haven't really got into like the professional side of people's jobs, right? Because there's still so much about, like talking about your workplace outside of work. And we're not saying that, any workplace is perfect, like every workplace is going to have its flaws, but also like being prepared, like you said, to enter into whatever kind of work culture you're going to do and making sure like you're good with yourself, like I think, and this is just me remembering, like even in my own, right, as I was coming out of college, I really thought that I put a lot of pressure on myself to like do really what I thought were like big things, and sometimes that meant I worked in places that I actually didn't really want to work at, this is no, I never actually ended up working at these places, but you know what I mean, recognizing that and knowing, oh look, Charlotte put OMG, come work with me, LOL.
Yes, she's talking to you.
Oh no, she's talking to you. I think it's really just like, maybe we can set that up actually, and Charlotte's listening obviously, so having that like kind of career coaching as far as like being a professional is a whole nother different topic, and maybe we can go into that in the future. This is my last question for you. What is next? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? What is Jess doing?
Yeah, I don't know is the answer.
Love it.
Um, but I do know that, within the next decade, I want to be a better teacher, a better mentor, and when I say community leader, I guess I want to be able to actually define that
Mm.
for me. I know teaching was so well.
She's trying to get us. No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool that you're doing like course design. As a side, I actually I'm a lecturer at Manoa, and that's probably why Charlotte is
Mm.
saying teach at West Oahu. Don't worry, Charlotte, I'm trying. But I think it's both in this like I feel you in the way that I want to be a better teacher and a better mentor, and I mean that's why we do these these talks, so that we can kind of talk to the students and create those connections with them, so that we can keep cultivating a new body of creatives right into Hawaii's industries. So I mean, Jess, I'm so glad that you came on. Thank you so much for sharing all of your mana'o and all of the experiences that you've had and really inspiring us. It really is full circle. That's what Charlotte put also.
Yeah.
So I appreciate having you. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to stay tuned for our next Talking Story with Alumni in October. If you're following us here on Instagram, you'll probably get, you'll see it in feed, or make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter so you can get the next date. But Jess, thank you again. Thank you so much for sharing all that you did, and have a good week.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
see
you so
you.
much. Yeah, and
Thanks.
we'll catch up with Charla
Yes.
about that teacher.
We're gonna everyone. I don't know if anyone knows, but right after we do these, we all text Charla. All right, Jess. Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Mahalo.